everybody. Earl at thelogbook.com back for more Voyages of Shelf Discovery. I am going to be opening up the first and perhaps only two specimens of the Eaglemoss Doctor Who figurine collection that I have. Now, in the past, I have gotten some of the TARDIS consoles that Eaglemoss has done, which are wonderful. I highly recommend those. The bulk of my Doctor Who collection really rests with the 5.5-inch scale character options figures. These are a much smaller scale, but these are two characters that I always told myself, if they ever came back in stock through Eaglemoss, of course the clock ran out on that, and so it was Master Replicas got these back in stock, I would get them. So not only did they restock them, they had a sale. And so what I have here are both from the John Pertwee-era Alpha Centauri from The Curse of Peladon and The Monster of Peladon, and the original 1970 Silurian. So as you can see, these are straight out of the box. Straight out of the box, so I am having to take them out of the bag. I did appreciate that, unlike most of the Star Trek product that Master Replicas was selling on behalf of Eaglemoss, which had gone under, the Doctor Who items, very nice there, Alpha Centauri, Doctor Who items actually came with the appropriate magazine. So, much appreciated there. They were separating the Star Trek ships from the magazines for a while there at the end. There you go, an entire magazine about the character of Alpha Centauri, which appeared in two John Pertwee stories and kind of dropped in at the end of a Peter Capaldi story as more of an Easter egg than anything. Not really something plot critical, but just a nice little pat on the head for the longtime fans. The boxes on these are very small and are a bit of a similar form factor to the Eaglemoss Star Trek ships, in that there is kind of an open top cardboard box, which you see upside down here. And in that box you have, plastic protecting the item in question. So let's get Alpha Centauri opened up. I was actually kind of surprised at how much tape and how much the little plastic strings had to be sliced through to get here. There was a bit of a time lapse in there. I'm sure you saw the edit. So it didn't take quite so long while I figured out how much of that I had to go through. There we have Alpha Centauri. I love this character. I love the Peladon episodes from John Pertwee's era. And Alpha Centauri just had this wonderful, squeaky, high-pitched voice. And just kind of shuffled around, because you imagine an actor in that outfit. Yeah, obviously the top two arms belong to the actor in question, and the rest of it, they're just sort of lumbering around. The magazine, I don't know if you saw it, the Alpha in Alpha Centauri was printed in a very dark green. You could be forgiven for thinking it just said Centauri, so yeah, we're all Centauri around here. That's fine. Let's open the Silurian. Let's get the Silurian out of the bag. Again, we have the magazine come with the figure. This is how these were originally sold as a subscription by Eaglemoss. It was called a part work, basically, which is kind of a uniquely UK thing, where you get a magazine with the item, and that way they're able to get these stocked in. They still have newsstands in the UK, so Here we have the Silurian from 1970, and of course, something that makes me very happy, we have an entire magazine about the Silurian here. Specifically to do with the original appearance of the Silurians from 1970, which I remember when I finally got to see this episode. I think I was about 13 years old when the John Pertwee season made it to my part of the States. And I finally got to see this one. And keep in mind, at that time, of course, now it's on DVD. It's been recolorized very well, very nicely. But at the time, it was in black and white. And just the way these things looked and sounded and moved gave me the screaming heebie-jeebies. It was genuinely unnerving. Yes, it's a guy in a rubber monster suit, but the parts of the suit that were free to move, they were so juddery. It was like these things were super caffeinated and very violent. And so you have this, it really comes across as this nervous energy. It's like it's going to kill you, and it's going to be, on its last nerve the whole time it's killing you. I always found that extremely unnerving about the Silurians, and when they were revived in the 80s and revived again in the 2010s, they just didn't quite have that same energy. They didn't have that same energy that made them really unnerving. The detail on these, check this out. The detail on these is phenomenal. Look at the scales on the Silurian. These figures are actually kind of small. These are the first characters I have collected from this particular collection. And I had the thought in the back of my head, these are probably not going to be done by character options. I would love it if they were. But character options is probably not going to do characters that are this far on the back bench, if you will. And so I was thinking, okay, these guys will go in the back of my character options display for kind of some forced perspective. Well, let's look at how that works out scale-wise. Not great. Not great. The character options action figures tower over the Eaglemoss figurines. I will figure something out as far as integrating them into the display, but that's like a baby Alpha Centauri. And as far as the Silurian, character options has given us the 80s version of the Silurians. I would love it if character options would do us a similar box set of 1970 Silurians. But apparently their 80s Silurians didn't exactly sell out in 5 minutes, so the chances of that happening are very slim. So I got me a 1970s Silurian here, which is a figurine and not an action figure. The scale difference is gigantic, literally. And so these are fantastic. They're so out of scale with everything else in my collection that I don't know if there are any more of these in my future that are not TARDIS consoles. The TARDIS consoles, you can at least do some effective forced perspective with the action figures. But putting these guys next to the action figures, probably not going to work out too well, sadly. The level of detail on them is fantastic. If I had started out collecting these a long time ago, I would probably have shelves and shelves of them now. Because the Eaglemoss collection, which, by the way, Master Replicas has picked up that license. They are going to continue these figurines with the same manufacturer and the same staff working on them. So there's a bright future there if you're into these. How much of a future I have with them, I don't know, but I love Alpha Centauri, so I kind of had to.